Good evening. Myself, G. Ritvik. I'm from CSC C section. My ID number is 21951A05G2. Today we are going to see chemistry. My topic is working together on global climate problems. This is my topic. Now we are going to see significant commitments have already been made by the cities globally to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. This research report aggregates the existing commitments of 228 cities. It is intended to demonstrate the scale of emissions reductions that cities can achieve to catalyze increased collaboration among the cities and to inspire more ambitious targets and greater actions for climate change mitigation. The research estimates that cumulative emissions savings by cities could reach 13.0 GTCO2e by 2050. Compared with business as usual, this is equivalent to the combined current annual emission of China and India. The research was conducted by Arup and C40 in partnership with ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, United Cities and Local Governments, UN Uninhabited, the Secretary General Special Envoy for Cities and Climate Change, and the World Resources Institute. The report was launched by Mayor TAU City of John Johannesburg at the Unclimate Summit in New York, 23rd September 2014. Based on data from 228 cities representing 436 million people, outlines the proposed reduction in cumulative and annual emissions saved compared with a business as usual scenario for the years 2020, 2030, and 2050, measured in MTCO2e by year, compares both the scale of ambition and the time period chosen, predicts when the greatest impact will be felt. Details case studies with demonstrate how cities are achieving their commitments, describes the methodology used to aggregate cities emissions, working together global aggregation of city climate commitments. Issue concerning the environment are still on the rise. Global warming, acid rain, land depletion, and rainforest destruction, all of these problems have caused serious consequences, and things will get worse if we do not address them properly. China and United States are the two countries with the largest carbon emissions, so they cannot be excused from the responsibility of solving these problems. What is more, climate change is the most global of problems, and the efforts of one country alone will not work. Thus, the global community needs to come together. China and United States, as two important global leaders, should play the leading role. However, how should we cooperate? Key considerations include the fact that the cumulative historic emissions of greenhouse gases by the United States vastly exceed those of China, that the per capita emissions of the United States are about 5 times those of China, and that the United States is at a stage of development where urbanization, industrialization, and a basic infrastructure development have already taken place. For the United States, key considerations are that China is the largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. The Chinese greenhouse gases emissions are on a step upward curve. Unlike US emissions, that the US legacy infrastructure could be expensive to reconfigure and retrofit. That lifestyle in the United States are deeply embedded and will be to change, and that regardless of the other consideration, China must reduce its projected emissions very sustainably for the world to keep carbon levels in the atmosphere low enough to avoid risk of considerable danger for the world as a whole, working together to beat climate change. The message from the summer's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change sixth assessment report I was clear 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming will be reached by 2040 in all scenarios without transformational, urgent, and collaborative change across the world. We will be subject to the most extreme heat, flooding, and scarcity climate impacts. Our latest data shows the ambitious cities, states, and regions are at the forefront of climate action, but are already experiencing first and the devastating impacts of climate change from extreme rainfall to flooding and droughts. Change needs to happen now, but it cannot happen in silos. Real change requires rapid system-wide action. Working together to beat the climate crisis focuses on the need for collaboration between all actors across government and business and shines a spotlight on example of positive collaboration. The report calls on cities, states, and regions to work closely with each other as well as national government and business to ensure the world's stays on the narrow pathway of 1.5 degrees Celsius warming. Cities, states, and regions are telling us they need more from government and business to convert ambition into implementation. Cities are reporting a need for more collaboration across all tiers of government. The lack of collaboration is proving in a barrier to their climate adaptation and mitigation, and we are running out of time to overcome these barriers. While ambitious cities, states, and regions have the potential to influence government policy, they cannot deal with the issue of climate change alone. Collaboration is critical for cities' climate action. Nearly 1 by 3 of cities report that their ability to adapt to climate change is dependent on factors that are influenced by different levels of governmental. More than 1 by 4 of cities report that their citywide emissions reduction target was conditional on the success of component of policy outside of the city's control. Read the report to find out what is happening across the globe to tackle climate change alongside nature's loss, deforestation, and water security, among other issues, and find out what assistance cities, states, and regions need from other players. Our data looks at examples of effective collaboration from Brazil, Italy, Japan, Kenya, the UK, and the USA. These examples demonstrate that collaboration on climate action is happening. We just need it to happen faster and across many more countries, cities, states, and regions. These are the places: United States of America, Brazil, Italy, United Kingdom, Kenya, Japan. There are methods to control global climate problems. There are many of the methods to control the global climate problems. Thank you for giving this opportunity.